Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Democrats spent quite a bit of time telling us the debt's ballooned because of Republican tax cuts. Let me put their concerns to rest. Three numbers tells you everything you need to know about the federal deficit: 46, 64, and 94. The Democrats blame excessive spend. 46%, by the way, is the percentage of increase in inflation and population combined over the last 10 years. 46% increase of inflation and population. 64% is the increase in revenues in the same period. That's after the Trump tax cuts, after the big, beautiful bill. We're taking in 64% more revenue than 10 years ago with only a 46% increase of inflation and population. The third number is what's killing us, 94. That's the increase in spending in the same period. The Democrats like to blame Republicans for excessive spending, but the only opposition I have ever heard from the Democrats on spending issues is that we're not spending enough money fast enough. At the end of World War II, our nation staggered under a similar debt relative to GDP that we have today, as Mr. Walker noted. We'd exhausted our resources then fighting the most terrible war in human history. And the question occurs, how do we get out of that? Well, not by tax increases, as the Democrats proposed. Quite the contrary. In fiscal year 1946, Democrat Harry Truman cut the federal budget from $85 billion a year down to $30 billion a year, almost two-thirds. He slashed federal income tax rates. He abolished the excess profits tax. He fired 10 million federal employees. It was called war demobilization. The Keynesians at the time predicted a 25% unemployment rate in the second Great Depression. Instead, we had the post-war economic boom. So we already know how to fix the economy. The problem is summoning the discipline to do so. For the last 8 sessions, I've introduced a constitutional amendment on this subject. It's 27 simple words. The United States government may not increase its debt except for a specific purpose by legislation adopted by 3/4 of the membership of both houses of Congress. To me, that is the simplest way of addressing the issue and is essentially what Thomas Jefferson had suggested we needed in the Constitution at the time of its adoption. Such an amendment, taking effect 10 years from ratification, would naturally require both a balanced budget and a prudent reserve to accommodate fluctuations of revenues and routine contingencies. It would trust that 3/4 of Congress will be able to recognize a genuine emergency when it sees one, and that 1/4 of Congress will be strong enough to resist borrowing for light or transient reasons. But whether it is this or some other mechanism, it seems to me that it's absolutely crucial. Now, we have a modern-day example of this, and that's Switzerland. Switzerland adopted a debt break in its constitution almost 25 years ago. 85% of Swiss voters approved it. And today, Switzerland's total debt is 30% of GDP. Mr. Walker, what is the percentage today in the United States?
Well, debt held by the public is about 100%, but if you take the total debt, which includes the debt held by the trust funds, it's 123% and rising. And as you properly pointed out, we were going down after World War II. We're now going up, and we're not at war.
Because we cut spending dramatically, and we cut taxes, and that produced an economic expansion, as it did under Democrat John F. Kennedy, and as it did under Republican Ronald Reagan and Republican Donald Trump. So anyway, 100%, just debt held by the public, 100%. Switzerland is 30%. And Switzerland's running a slight budget surplus this year, I understand. What are we to take away from this experience?
Well, Switzerland and certain other countries, including Germany and Sweden, have recognized that they need a constitutional constraint in order to maintain fiscal sanity. And I might note the debt ceiling is a bad joke. It's done nothing to be able to constrain the growth of government or mounting debt burdens. It's a political football. And statutory approaches to try to be able to bring fiscal discipline, whether it be grand rubbing or anything else, have not stood the test of time. The only thing that can bind current and future Congresses and presidents is a constitutional amendment. And remember what Washington said, among other things: avoid excessive debt.
Oops.
We have not heeded his warning.
Thank you.